What's up, nerds? It's time to stack those 60s. Welcome to another episode of the Brawl Podcast. It's great to have you along. My name's Riley. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, of course, this week and every week. It is Toffel Severin.
Hello.
Yeah, good. This is just getting better every week. And also, of course, we have Jamin.
It's still me.
It's still you, yes.
What should it be? That sounded disappointing.
Well, it's still me.
I'm glad it's still you, man. I'm not sure about these signature openings that we're working on here. I'm really unsure of the direction they're going in. Anyway,
we'll figure them out one day.
We'll figure them out. We've got a lot to get through this week, of course. We are well and truly into this new Brawl format post the big changes that were made the other week, and there's a lot for us to discuss, but there's also a lot for us to discuss. Well, just to catch up a little bit, and so kind of didn't bury the lead there. It's time for the catch up.
Smooth.
It's time for the catch up. Well, I've had a pretty busy week. I'm over in the States right now in preparation for the Pro Tour. What's been going on with you guys?
Not much. Like, I actually have to also prepare for the Pro Tour, so I'm playing wacky standard decks. Because everybody knows the good standard decks already. Like, people in our team were like, I'm testing black-red and I'm testing blue-white. And they're like, okay, I guess I'm doing none of those.
Yeah, you're trying to break, Brass's bounty.
Yeah. I've cast very dubious cards in the last 2 days.
Yeah, how's it gone for you?
Oh,
look, it's top secret testing. I shouldn't be asking.
No, it's fine. Like, it went not as good as I hoped. Like, I tried, for example, this artifact, the Girapur Orrery, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It was not very good, no. That was my weekend.
And, Yamin, I saw that you tweeted you were down in Hamburg.
Yeah, I had a birthday on Friday, and from there I went straight to the bus to Hamburg.
Hang on, what? Your birthday's in December. How did you have another one?
No, I attended a birthday party on Friday. It wasn't my birthday.
It sounded like I had a birthday, and the same way I had a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. It also sounded very casual, like.
Yeah, I just had a birthday.
I had a birthday again.
Yeah.
It's the third one this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I went straight to the bus to Hamburg and then played the sealed event there. I placed 11th, which is unfortunate, but...
Oh, man.
11th is not top 8, as far as I know.
No.
Yep, that's the point.
If only they had the cut to top 11, and then you would have been sorted.
Yeah, and then maybe you could get a bye in the elimination rounds. Wow, that sounds great.
That'd actually be wow. Look, we could revisit the tournament structure there. I headed over to the States earlier last week. Jumped on a plane and flew into DC. DC is one of my favorite places on Earth. It's easily my favorite place in the United States. It is the most amazing city. I don't know if you guys have been. I know, Toffel, you're heading over here pretty soon for the GP, but this city is just amazing. It is full of free museums. All the museums and everything is free. Everything basically all run by the Smithsonian Institute, which is in charge of all these museums. They don't charge entry, which includes, if you'll believe it, the zoo.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we went and saw the lions and the tigers and stuff at the zoo the other day, which was the best. We saw there's this baby orangutan which was going absolutely mental, annoying its mother, pulling its hair, and doing all that sort of stuff like this. And I was loving it. I was with my girlfriend Megan. Right, we're walking between the exhibits, and she sees a chipmunk, right, which is not in one of the enclosures. It's just hanging out in the the little sort of undergrowth bit, right. And obviously, it's the first time I've ever seen a chipmunk in real life. I'm pretty excited by this as well. The entire rest of the zoo visit for Megan was about her spotting another chipmunk, because she was more excited by the chipmunks that were running around free, like little squirrels or whatever. She was more excited by the chipmunks than the gorillas and the lions and the giraffes and everything else, and the elephants and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if the chipmunks run. I mean, is a chipmunk a common animal in the States? I actually really don't know.
I have no idea.
They're at least common for all the story stuff.
Yeah, that's it. There's Alvin and the chipmunks and all that sort of stuff, but I have no frame of reference for these animals. They're also really small. I thought they were as big as squirrels. They're very, very tiny.
I guess they're just very cute.
Even more impressive to catch one.
Yeah. And this is what Megan was doing. She's running around trying to catch one. She couldn't get one. Anyway, but DC is just terrific, and it's great to be back in the States as well, eating, in my view, the best food in the world. No one does food like America. Just garbage.
You don't ever have to use cutlery.
That's it. Just garbage, awful food that you can eat with your hands. We've been to Bojangles. We've been to Taco Bell. We've just been having the best time. But no, it's fantastic back in the States. We're heading down to Virginia, down the beach, going to go and visit Monticello, go and hang out with Thomas Jefferson. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, I posted, there's a picture of me hanging out with Woodrow Wilson, my favorite US president, and also at the Lincoln Memorial. But man, I can't get enough of the city. I love DC. It is just the best place in the States as far as I'm concerned.
The only DC I really know is when you just get... No, never mind. It's okay. Go.
No, I feel like you should.
Yeah,
that was
you were
good.
going for a terrible
No,
joke.
it was really good. I really liked where you were going with that.
It's when my internet is gone, wanted to say.
Yeah. Well done. You finished the joke. Fantastic.
I even realized that I was a bad joke. And
No,
I don't jump that hurdle a lot. Like
I was going to say your bar is pretty low, and if that one didn't clear it. No, that's pretty.
like
anyway,
imagine that's like in real life, like when the bar is like really low for like me jumping over it, and I still wouldn't do it.
Actually, if you're the actual physical bar that you. But that doesn't that metaphor doesn't hold up because Jamin, I would argue, makes even worse jokes than you, Toffel, and he's like 12 feet tall.
Yeah, but Jamin is very lazy.
Yeah. So he's not clearing a bar not because of his height, but because of his physical prowess and very lazy attitude. I understand. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we do have a lot to get across this week, so let's jump in and start to have a chat about. Oh, actually, the other thing that I wanted to say. No, because I forgot.
We have so much to talk about, but...
Well, one of the things to talk about is the fact that it's 30 degrees over here, which for Americans is, 1,200 degrees Kelvin or whatever they use. I somehow managed to get a cold. Like, we're right down at the arse end of spring. It's beautiful and warm, and somehow I've managed to get a cold, and I'm coughing and sneezing and having a terrible time. My nose is all blocked, my throat's also... So my voice is going to sound, I think, a little bit different this week, and it's because somehow, I don't know how, I've managed to get a cold in 30-degree heat.
That's like an achievement, I guess.
Thank you very much. Achievement unlocked, 20 gamer points, but still not having a great time because I wake up every morning and it feels like someone has sandblasted the back of my throat. But anyway...
Have they dealt 5 damage? Like, why was the back of your throat attacking or blocking?
Yeah.
And then did someone deal 5 damage to it?
It's blocking my ability to feel good right now, so,
I see. All right.
Oh, that was the other thing. I know we got so much to get across. Did you... I was very proud of this. I know it's not even that funny, but I walked past a shop. I walked past a tax agent's shop right here in DC, and they were called Block Advisors. Did you see this? I tweeted saying, "Oh, if you're having trouble playing defensive Magic, why don't you call
I saw the picture,
Block
and it's excellent.
I'm very proud of that joke.
Who are you gonna call? So you actually went in there and said like, okay, look, I have this situation. I'm attacking with a 2/2.
No, I'm being attacked by Tutu, and I have this 3/3 flash flying merfolk in my hand. Should I play it or should I play around any combat trick my opponent?
I don't know how that conversation would go on.
Yeah.
Sir, we are a tax agent. I do not understand I don't know what a 3/3 merfolk is. I do not understand the question.
No, I feel like the answer would be, sir, I'm a tax agent, but if you want my magic advice, you can contact me on Twitter.
I do offer competitive rates on coaching services, but right now I am unable to help you with anything like this.
No, yeah, or maybe it's like one of those. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, and then he goes like with his arm, like his hand, like. But if you ask me, I should block.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's their secret. It's their under the table package that you can. It's their premium package. They'll do all your taxation and then sit and then Skype in with you while you're playing Magic Online and help you with your blocking.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir, but maybe when you first strike, then you can get a good deal.
It's always important to be vigilant with your taxation.
Yeah.
By the way, how does Block Advisors feel about the tax on Galta in Brawl?
Oh, see,
Do we know that?
This is something they should be able to help us with the ongoing commander tax issues. Anyway, let's get to the business at hand. I know we've got so much to talk about, and now I don't have any more stupid anecdotes to share. So let's get on with it and have a chat about what we're going to have a chat about this weekend. Wow, I am really, really not going well today, huh? So this week we're going to be talking about the best decks for this whole new brawl that we've got ourselves into here. We're still waiting for things to be updated on Magic Online, but in the meantime, I know you guys have been working hard to come up with lists that are probably going to represent the best starting point to attack this new format. a lot of what we're going to talk about today germinated from our mail bag segment from last week, where Razor McBlazer sent in his mono red list for us to have a look at, and a range of questions for us to discuss about as well. I know that you guys are pretty confident that mono red's going to be a major player in new Brawl. So why don't we start there and kind of pick up where we left off with Yamin's mailbag last week and talk about what's going on with this list.
All right. With the change from 30 life to 20, I think aggressive decks received a boost that is not to understate. You can't understate how big that boost is, because that's 1/3 of the life total gone. So
how big is the boost?
It's 10. It's 10 boost.
Yeah, it's a pretty big boost.
That sounds very understated.
You said it was impossible to overstate it. It's the biggest change. It's the biggest boost that we've seen since playing the cooperative mode of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
I love that we're already into this very constructive discussion.
Okay, Yamin, I'm sorry that we made fun of you. Please continue.
All right, where do you go when you're looking for aggressive decks? You go to mono red, and that's what Mazer.
Attack advisor.
What?
Who really meant the block advisor? So
yeah, if you're playing against a mono red commander, you should seek out the block advisors, because you want to defend your life total, probably.
Which are now 20. That cannot be understated.
Can I understate that there has been a 10-point life change to it?
Does this make a whole podcast? Just saying in different ways how much the life total change matters and how much it is.
We could get a lot of meat off that. If we spent one podcast per rule change, we would be done all the way through to September, I think. Yeah, anyway.
Wow, the unbanning of Rogue Refiner.
We could get a whole episode on that. Jeez.
Imagine all the decks that play it. Every deck that's green-blue will play it. And every deck that is green, blue, and red will play it.
Mate,
and then
you're just burning through content here. This is August. This is August's 3rd episode. Come on.
All right, let's get down to business. The mono red deck we built has Chandra as the commander, but that's already the first big discussion. Which commander do you want to play? Because the commander that you play has a huge influence on how you want to build the deck. So the three options that I think are reasonable, maybe there's a fourth one, but for now I would only consider Karizev, which is the 2-mana 1/3 that brings along her pet 2/1 ape when attacking. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, the 4-mana standard staple. And Hazret, the Fervent, also the 4-mana standard staple. And the only big difference between the three really is the mana cost. Because if you play a 2-drop as your commander...
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. Ignore Toffel. Ignore the little vicious giggling that he's perpetrating here, mate, and get on with the point, because I think it's a good one.
Just to say, it's oh, you played a Chandra, but that's basically a Karizev, just because...
Oh, that's your angle. What your angle was, Yamin says, the only difference is the mana cost, when 2 of them are 4-drops.
No, it's he plays a Chandra, and this one's oh, what does this card do? It's just like Karizev, you know?
It attacks for 3.
Just as a planeswalker.
Alright, I think all of them are equally good at supporting an aggressive deck. Because when you're ahead on the board, you're pressuring your opponent. Chandra's often going to be very good. Hazret will attack for a lot of damage, which is what the red deck already does. And Karizev is an equally aggressive card. So now you have to think about the mana cost. If you put a 2-drop as your commander, you have to play way fewer 2-drops, right? You will only play the 2-drops that are also good if not cast on turn 2, because you already have your turn 2 play lined up, right? You always play Karizev on turn 2. If you play a 4-drop as your commander, you don't want to include other 4-drops in your deck, right? Because you already have your 4-drop lined up. But that's actually what you always want to do in a red deck. You don't want to play 10 4-drops in your red deck because, well, drawing 2 of them in your opener is going to suck because you basically took a mulligan to 6 or 5. That's why I would recommend playing a 4-mana commander in the mono red deck. But like I have to play with it to find out if that's correct. But that's my line of thought.
Does that maybe just depend on the format's options on those slots?
It might be true in like a polarized format where there's like no good 2-drop, which like in Brawl there's actually like a huge constraint on your 2-drops. Like in this deck list, we're playing some garbage 2-drops. Like let's not say garbage. We're playing some mediocre 2-drops. Yeah, in general, if we would have more access to good 4-drops, the playing the 2-drop commander might be better, right?
Here's my question. Well, actually, hang on. First is my statement. The deck list. Well, I wanted to say something. I need to say something before I ask the question. The deck list we're talking about is available in the show notes of this episode, so you can go there and get across exactly what we're talking about here. But this is not something that I've really given a whole lot of thought to. Is this principle of putting, building your deck around your commander in terms of the curve? I mean, you're saying before that if you're playing Karazev, you don't include 2-drops. If you're playing if you're playing a 4-drop commander, you can go easier on the top end there. Is this just true for aggressive decks, or whenever you're building a Brawl deck of any kind, should you be sort of building a little notch into your curve where your commander will be, given that you have guaranteed access to it?
I think it depends on whether you want to curve out or not, because in your control deck, if you're not like a board control decks playing like walls on curve or something, you probably don't want to curve out. Like you're not looking to go, like you don't have to go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. In that case, it probably doesn't matter where on the curve your commander is. But as soon as you're like looking to curve out or something, your commander does play a role in fixing your curve. And like in most mid-range decks, you will play your commander on the turn that you can.
Okay, so if your commander costs 3, or if your commander costs 4 or 5, or whatever your commander costs, you should look at easing off on other cards that share that converted mana cost because, or cards that you want to cast on that turn at least, given that you're always going to have that play available to you. That's an interesting point, and I guess one that's particularly relevant here when we're talking about mono red.
But with a big emphasis on going easy. Don't just not play 2-drops once you play Karizev, because you probably still want to play cards like Lightning Strike or Earthshaker Kenra when playing mono red.
I mean, you basically just cut all the 2-drops that are worse than your commander, and then, when the commander costs, like if you play 4-drops, because you want to maximize your mana usage, and when you use your commander all the time, you don't have to draw another 2-drop. Sometimes you maybe want to play a Kenra first. I guess Kenra is kind of weird to play first, but sometimes you want to, when you have a 4-drop, you want to cast Hazoret first instead of playing Chandra from your command zone. So you just play naturally all the cards that are better, you cut the cards that are worse, and you have in mind that some 2-drops are better later. Like the Kenra is good as a late game play, so you keep that in your deck because it serves 2 different spaces in your mana slot.
I have to say, as someone who isn't really huge on deck building in this way, like generally I'll just I don't think about stuff on this.
This is a knight. It goes to my deck.
Honestly, that's. I mean, I didn't want to make such an oblique reference to it, but like that is like basically my deck building process in Brawl. I didn't really, I've never really thought about this. I'm sure for people who have played, a lot more Commander, a lot more Brawl than me, it's very obvious that you need to make pretty considerable deck building concessions to who your commander is and what they're trying to do. But this is really, really interesting for me to explore here with you, because I didn't realize exactly how much you needed to do to make sure your commander had its maximum possible impact.
Well, you can see it with this list. We're only playing 5 cards that cost 4 or more. One of them being Glorybringer. And then the other 4-drops are just 2 of the most powerful cards in Standard, in Hazoret and Rekindling Phoenix. And then Fleetwheel Cruiser hits for 5 the turn it comes into play, and Flame Lash is a 4-mana instant that deals 4 damage to any target. That also hits for 4 the turn it comes into play and leaves play and is aimed at your opponent.
Does the commander you play change the amount of lands you want to play? Because imagine if you play the same lands, you're probably casting Chandra only once.
It depends on the commander plus the deck, I would say. Because if you can also build like a bigger red deck with more top end, and then you would obviously play way more lands. As it is right now, we're playing 24 lands, which should enable you to cast Chandra quite consistently on turn 4.
Would you play less lands when you play Karazev?
It depends on the deck list I'm building around. Like, if I play Karizev as my commander, I'm more likely to include more 4-drops, I think, because there just aren't enough cards to make like a super low to the ground red deck. So I would probably play the same amount of lands with more 4-drops.
So as we mentioned before, one of the reasons we're talking about this deck is it was submitted by, or the archetype at least, was submitted for our review by our esteemed Patreon member, Razor McBlazer. Last week we talked about it during Yamin's mailbag. He also included quite a number of discussion questions, which we thought was pretty forthright, but also pretty cool. So we're gonna work our way through some of these questions as we promised last week, and it's going to be a good way for us to explore maybe the strengths and the weaknesses of the deck and how it's been put together and why it's been put together. So we've already talked about the role that the commander plays in the list in terms of the curve. And one of his questions is, since we always have carry on 2, is it correct to have fewer 2-drops? And we've touched upon this already, so we can kind of go past that one. The next question: what's the ideal curve and playstyle for mono red in the format? With so few playable synergy independent 1-drops, is a fast start even the correct goal, or should we build more towards mid range?
That's a question that will be answered in like 1.5 weeks once.
Thank you for your questions.
We can get several months of content out of this one set of discussion questions. Check back in late October when we finally answer the final Razor McBlazer question. But no, we're still waiting for a clearer a picture of the format to emerge.
Like it all depends on what the metagame looks like, what the format plays like. Right now, I would expect like the more aggressive approach to be to be good, but maybe the power level of the card pool just makes for a better big red deck that can pressure early but like gets most of its power out of the mid game. But yeah, no idea.
Depends also how many removers people's play. Like, do the control decks play Moment of Craving or Ether Meltdown, or are they saying, okay, I just go along with Cast Down and stuff? And the more they play, probably the more correct it is to go more expensive and play stronger creatures. And probably in the beginning, people are just saying like, nah, I want to cast cards like, expensive 7-drops.
Yeah, that's my exact thought when building the first deck. In the beginning, I would expect people to be very commander influenced and play like unoptimized lists with lots of expensive sweet cards, so beating them down is probably the way to go.
I mean, I know this from the Scapegoat deck building, which we come to later. You just find some cards like, oh, this card is sweet, let's put it in and see if it...
Yeah, let's play that one.
Let's see
exactly.
if it makes the cut in the end, and then you have it in your deck. It's like, it probably should go, but it's so cool.
Okay, but even if we want to punish people who are playing, the sandworm convergences of the format, is there even the card pool to support that? Are there even the 1 and 2-drops that are actually going to let us be super, super aggressive with this red deck? I think my natural inclination, I know that, we want to punish fools who are trying to play their silly 7 and 8-drops in this new format, but my inclination is that I just don't think the card pool supports a really low to the ground, hyper aggressive red deck.
Yep, you can't go 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop like every game. You just don't have enough playable 1-drops, and the 2-drops are also not the best. But like, I think just playing cards like Goblin Trailblazer and all the other like 2-mana creatures that are not the best will still punish slow opponents.
Depends also a little. Like, if you play Hazoret as a commander, you probably want to play even the bad 1-drops.
Yeah, but that's the reason I chose Chandra over Hazoret. I don't think that you can empty your hand by turn 4 by playing cards that you want to play. Like, once you play Hazoret, I think you have to play garbage 1-drops, and maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's how
Are you afraid of playing garbage 1-drops?
For those who don't know Yamin's pedigree of playing Edgar Markov in 1v1 Commander, he loves Pulse Tracker. He loves those garbage 1-drops.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out, but that's an option. But your 1-drops really do suffer. Like, you have to play 1-mana 1/2s with Menace without any upside, really, and then like
1-mana
whatever.
1/2 with Menace.
Yeah, it's the one that gets +1/+0 when you discard a card.
Oh, okay. No, that's too bad.
Fire Flame Adept? No.
Yeah, Flame Blade Adept. I think.
All it is my entire job is to know the names, to know the words printed in the top left corner of Magic cards. And I couldn't even do it with a card that is like now a modern staple. What is it? Fire Fist Striker? No, that's not it. Flameblade Adept.
Yeah, Flameblade Adept.
Okay, good. He's the jackal fella. Yeah, and he's got like the double lightsaber sort of flying around. Yeah, I understand.
Your skill in broadcasting also moved very quickly from knowing the cards to finding the cards in the encyclopedia.
Yes. If you're ever watching GP coverage and you hear a quick tapping on the keyboard, it's me looking up the name of a card I don't know. Oh dear.
So this is the very good 2-drop which we have here, which is very good in power and is also named Karizef Ship Raider.
And then I still get the name wrong after that. Yes, exactly. It was a great simulacrum there, Toffel. Let's move on to the next question here, because this one is another one that I think is going to provoke a fair bit of discussion here. Should we play expensive spells that only kill creatures, like Deem Worthy or Fight with Fire? Obviously, the problem with playing effectively, creature-only burn spells is that they don't give you that reach that sometimes the mono-red deck needs. So are these cards that you are interested in including in these lists, cards that don't go upstairs?
I think Fight with Fire has a lot of reach.
That's true. I played it in the most recent standard GP.
That's true, but I mean, how often are you getting to the 12 or 13 or 14,000 mana that you need to cast it?
You only need 9, and that sounds like
I think it's 10.
No, it's 9. Okay, I played it in the recent standard GP. I don't know the mana cost. Explain your standings, man. Explain your standings.
Oh, that was savage. Oh, mate, he just dunked on you.
It's like, imagine, it's like, oh, my opponent is on 10 and I have only 9 mana. Well, I guess good game. But to be fair,
I can't recover from that.
Well, if you play Chandra, probably Fight with Fire is not unreasonable.
Even with Chandra, you still need 7 lands, and when I have 7 lands in play with the mono red deck, I don't think I'm happy.
But that's the point. If you draw this card, you are actually happy. And it's not that it's the worst card to draw later. You can still kill like a Lyra.
Okay, well let's focus on this point then. Do we want to play? Let's forget about Fight with Fire specifically. Do we want to play burn spells that don't easily go upstairs? Let's talk about something like Deem Worthy. Is this a card we're interested in playing, like a effective like a red Doomblade effect, or do we need more cards like Lightning Strike that can go both ways?
No.
The problem with Deem Worthy is that
it's
not even a red Doomblade because it's 5 mana. So if I like Deem Worthy, I will probably never play, or hopefully. But maybe like other board control cards and
okay, like Harness Lightning then. What about a card like Harness Lightning?
Yeah, but that's good.
I like Harness Lightning. It's decent, but it doesn't go upstairs. So I would probably play it in most of my bigger red decks. So if there is a bigger red deck,
I think if you want to play those cards, they either need to be very cheap, like Harness Lightning is very cheap, or they need to do something which you, in an effect, really need, like exiling the creature. Like you could play Magma Spray, that wouldn't be too bad. Or maybe drawing cards, or making a creature. Like something that has more effect than just killing the creature. Because usually for the later cards of the game, just killing a creature 1-for-1 is not what your deck wants to do. You want to get like an additional advantage to pressure more.
Pressure.
So I guess the point here is that we can't play. I mean, the question asked, do we play expensive spells like Deem Worthy? And the answer is no. If you're going to play these board control spells, then yeah, they need to be like Magma Spray. They need to be like Harness Lightning. They need to be cheap spells.
Think of it like this: if you kill a creature, it's only good if you're already ahead on board and like have multiple creatures out. And if you have multiple creatures out, like there's other cards that will also push you further ahead without like being terrible when your opponent doesn't have a creature or something.
Every expensive card you play has the opportunity cost of not being able to be played when you don't have the mana. And a card that you put into your deck needs to have a very good effect the more it costs. That's why they're better, of course, because you will play them less likely. But a 1-for-1 effect is not the effect you want as an expensive card, because the cost of drawing it early doesn't mitigate the effect that later it only does one effect.
Let's move on and have a look at the next question here, which is asking, what are some of the worst cards in this deck? I think it's an open secret now that in the Brawl format, given the fact that you have to play 60 card singleton, you are going to need to scrape the bottom of the barrel and play cards like Goblin Trailblazer every now and again. So what are some of the bad cards in this list?
There are some spicy ones in here.
That's a very optimistic and diplomatic way to put it. I mean, I appreciate how kind you're being. You've got it listed in the show notes as questionable.
I
Well,
feel
they
like
are questionable.
spicy is garbage, so it's exactly what it should be.
Spicy's not. What are you talking about? Spicy's not garbage.
Of course.
Toffel never eats spicy
Well,
food.
that's because he is a German, and for you Germans, milk is spicy. Okay.
I eat all the spicy food.
You're an aberration for your people, because I tell you this, I used to live in Germany, as both of you know. I don't know. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling the audience that. I lived in Berlin for a number of years, and I used to enjoy going to the Indian restaurants or the Thai restaurants, whatever else like this. And I don't mind a bit of spicy food. Like generally, I'll get like if there's a dish with like 2 chili icons next to it, I'll get that, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I would go to a place like an Indian restaurant or whatever in Germany, and I would see the little thing with like the 2 chilies, I knew that I had to go up to the 3 chilies, because the 2 chilies in Germany, the chili scale in Germany is completely off, because Germans will drink a glass of milk and go around and go, oh, so hot, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
me.
that's Toffel.
Yeah, but because I don't want to purposely burn my taste bumps for fun.
You don't want to burn your taste bums.
No.
Okay, do you want to revisit the terminology there? Are you saying taste bums or bumps?
Bumps.
Bumps with a P?
There are a lot of P's. Should it be a P? I don't
No,
know.
mate, it's your taste buds.
A buds.
Yes,
Like,
your taste buds, like your little buds in your mouth that tell you, your little friends in your mouth.
One day we'll have the German episode right again.
Oh, and
That's
then
not going to be fun for you.
I'm just going to get lit up.
So I'm just saying, like, it actually hurts you. Why would you eat something that hurts you?
It doesn't hurt. I mean, it's another type of taste. I can't believe I'm the 6-year-old here when it comes to food, and I'm the one just defending hot sauce.
So you're saying, like, you just do it because it's necessary for you?
No, I mean I like spicy food. I don't like insanely spicy food, but I like spicy food.
Ooh, there's a bet.
There's
I
a
can
bet
see,
here. Yeah,
but,
let's get this going.
there's a bet.
I'm going to see you next
somewhere.
week in Virginia. We're going to see you in Richmond for the Pro Tour, so we're going to have to do something here.
I will not eat anything that's spicy.
Toffel won't eat spicy food. Unfortunately, I'm not the one queued for the Pro Tour.
Okay, Toffel.
I cannot. It's no.
If you drink.
Oh God.
If you drink a little bottle of Tabasco sauce, right? I'm going to get some hot sauce. If you drink a bottle of that, I'll put in.
What is that?
I'll put in 10 boosters.
No, that doesn't work. No, that is horrible.
I'll put in 15 boosters if you drink like a very small bottle of Tabasco sauce.
No, I cannot do that. This is
Mate.
literally, it's dying. Like, this hurts.
Dude, it's seriously impossible for Toffel. Toffel dies at the smallest amount of spicy.
Okay, a teaspoon of Tabasco sauce.
Oh, for 15 boosters into the pot, Toffel.
Oh God.
Yeah, you can't turn that down, Toffel.
No, I think Tabasco is just, it will kill me, honestly.
Yeah, but it's
It
15
won't kill
boosters.
you.
That's worth dying for.
Okay,
a spoonful of Tabasco. No, you've got to do it, man. You got to do it.
I will consider it.
Oh,
I cannot. It's just, no.
Wow, Toffel. There's always those kinds of people that like fuddle around with bets and like don't make a final decision and then like back off.
Well, I didn't even drink like chili sauce for 500 pounds.
you want to tell this story, you mean?
Well, I think that's all there is to the story. I got offered 500 pounds for drinking a bottle of chili sauce.
How big was the
That
bottle?
was like 600 milliliters or something.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. And Toffel died at the smallest taste of that sauce.
Honestly, like imagine this comparison. Yeah, I had like a little, like not even teaspoon. That's like a fifth of the teaspoon, like a little drop that I tried in my mouth, and it was burning. It was like there is no way I can even try at least a spoon of that. And then Jamin goes like, "Well, I drink the whole bottle."
Well, that was an easy 500 pounds.
Did you get paid?
Not yet.
Oh, well, okay. Wait, don't get your chickens before they're hatched. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next week, check out our YouTube channel, Toffel. We'll be drinking, not even drinking, it's a spoonful, so it doesn't even count as drinking. Toffel will be ingesting a spoonful of Tabasco sauce.
Okay. How about like you?
Okay, I heard him just say okay, so I'm going to cut out every other bit of audio that he says here. I'm not going to let any other thing else. That was agreement. That was a tacit agreement. We have a verbal contract.
If you want to fight, then we can just, whenever I explain something like from theory, I would just in the middle of the sentence like I'm not eating spicy stuff, and then just go on. So your editing process will be horrible.
Okay, anyway, so back to these questionable cards here, Yamin. Let's talk about the cards that you don't like in this list.
Yeah, some of the 2-drops are particularly spicy. Talking about spice.
Let's not go back into it. No, go on. Tell us about these garbage, because let's get back to garbage. Let's talk about the garbage cards in this list, because they're like, it's necessary. You have to play. There just aren't enough cards not to play. You can't have hits all the way down.
If you're not playing Karizev as your commander, you're gonna have to fill up your deck with questionable 2-drops. Toffel, can you tell me what Neff Crop Entangler does?
Of course I can. Costs 1 red. It's a 2/1 human warrior.
I'll tell you if you're right at the end.
It's a common from Amonkhet. It exerts. If it exerts, it gets +2/+1 and menace.
It's so close.
Wait.
You got the creature types right.
It was human warrior? Right.
Yes.
It definitely gets +2/+1. But the question...
All right. I'll solve. It's a 2-mana 2/1 with trample. And you may exert it as it attacks, and then it gets +1/+2. So it becomes a 3/3.
Yes, okay.
All right, yeah, we're playing that one.
Well, which is crap. Like this.
Yeah, it's not a good card. Then we're also playing Firebrand Archer, which is a 2/1 for 2 that deals 1 damage for each non-creature spell you cast. Like it pings your opponent. We're also playing the Kaladesh All-Star Thriving Grubs.
Beautiful.
Not just regular grubs. These grubs are thriving.
Yeah, it's a 2/1 that generates 2 energy when it comes into play, and then whenever it attacks, you may pay 2 energy and then put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yeah, those are bad.
Yep. But I think it's the best thing I could find while deck building.
I mean, compared to those, Ether Chaser looks like a good card.
Yeah, it does. We are also playing that one. And then Goblin Trailblazer to round out, the draft chaff from old draft formats. 2 mana to 1 menace. But it can put in the damage you need.
I have a funny story about a card. I was playing in Legacy GP, and the one had like a jitter with 20 counters, and was it like 4 life? And the other one playing like white reds, those what is it called? Like Death and Texas thing. And there's an Ether Vion too. Yeah. So the one with the jitter counters for like 6 jitter counters was like stealing super comfortable. And then he goes like, end of turn Vion, yes. Harsh Mentor.
Oh no.
And then the guy went like from, oh god. Like he was like, I was sitting next and I could see the face because it's sitting across of me, and he was from super Ether Vion. He's like, of course, what could possibly go wrong? Harshman, he was like, oh damn.
So he's gone from like, how can we possibly lose, to how can we possibly win?
Yeah, exactly. Because he can also not kill the mentor, because it also deals 4 damage.
Yeah, because it also deals 4 damage. Yeah, that's the best part. I guess he can start gaining life though, because he can pay. No, because he can gain 2 life, which only costs him 2 life.
Yeah, exactly.
So he doesn't lose any life.
No, it's nice.
You can remove counters from a GTA 4 free. What a bargain.
Okay, so yeah, like I mean, but actually that are not many bad cards. I feel like those are like 2 or 3 or 4 which are under par.
Yeah, then there's a 1-drop. I'm not sure if we should be playing it. It's Bloodlust Inciter. It's the 1-mana 1/1 that taps to give a creature a haste until end of turn.
Yeah, I don't like it if you don't play a creature commander that much.
Yeah, maybe that one should go. And the last one I want to mention here are the last ones are the 3-mana burn spells: Wizard's Lightning, Open Fire, and Hungry Flames. All of them are 3 mana to deal 3 damage to basically any target.
I guess this is going to be very unusual for any Brawl deck to be, as ruthlessly optimized as a full proper standard deck will be, just because, you have to start playing questionable cards either for curve considerations or just because there aren't any other cards that fill that role. And yeah, that's why we end up in a world where we're playing Neff Crop Entangler and Bloodlust Insider. It's not the world we want to live in, but it's kind of the one we have to. Before we wrap things up here, can we talk in a more general sense about the strengths and the weaknesses of the mono red deck? We have highlighted it, as we've said, as sort of one of the decks to beat, or one of the decks that you might want to look at playing as we head into New Brawl. In what format is this deck going to be very good? I guess we've already touched upon that with people kind of being silly and playing huge big 8-drops or whatever else. And what's going to happen for this deck to start being bad in the Brawl format?
the reason you should play this deck week 1 is that you get to punish people who pass the turn once too often, right? If your opponent is just sitting there going like land, go, land, ramp, artifact or something, you're going to beat your opponent fairly quickly, right? If people start adapting to that, and maybe there's a strategy that puts down huge blockers way ahead of curve, or like something that plays efficient removal paired with good blockers, maybe some life gain, I don't know, incidental life gain, then this deck might struggle, right? I imagine something that could be hard for it to overcome is Galta, because once Galta resolves, you're not really attacking anymore.
You could play an expertise.
Yeah, that's a reasonable way to beat Galta. Like, taking like any threaten effect is gonna pretty much win the game on the spot there.
You're also playing cards that support your game plan the best and ignore a bit what your opponent is playing. So it doesn't matter what your opponent plays because they think of what they want to do. Like, I will play a control deck, I will play a mid-range deck, whatever. You don't care what your opponent is, you just play creatures, attack, and deal damage. And as soon as you know what your opponents are doing in a general, more educated point of view, then you can adapt by playing other cards, different decks, or whatever. But since nobody knows what the majority is playing, you just do what you want to do. And this is pretty easy because your creatures deal damage and your spells deal damage, and that's what you want to do.
Well, let's talk about this then in a general sense. For anyone who's listened to this podcast and is thinking, yep, this is going to be my tool to crush my enemies in this new Brawl format once it comes back online. What are some good pieces of general advice we can give to people who are going to put this deck together and try to crack some skulls?
As usually with mono red, they don't have a lot of reach, and the cards get worse once you enter the mid to late game. Probably dealing more damage even by sacrificing creatures is better, especially if you can bring your opponent down to a burnable number of life points. Like the difference between 10 and 6 is enormous, for example.
So I guess what you're saying is don't be afraid to chump attack if you need to push through some final points of damage. Don't attempt to play a longer game.
Even if you don't see the damage cards in your hand, like you having not a goal to count to 20. When it's like, okay, I attack now for 6, then my creature dies, and then I can deal the last 4 damage from my cards. You will have cards in your deck that can kill your opponent in like 2 or 3 draw steps, which maybe doesn't happen if they are at 10 instead of 6.
Yeah, that's actually a very important different point. Like, always play towards your outs, right? As Toffel just said, like, throw away your creatures to get your opponent to 4 and then top deck Flame Lash, right? That's a good play.
That's a great play. A highly skilled line to take, yes.
Yeah.
Also, since your commander is your weapon, you can also just sacrifice some creatures because you can replay your commander. That's why it's a bit awkward that Karazev is the commander, because usually she doesn't do a lot of damage. Let's say they block the other creature and the ape, she deals 1 damage. You really want her to die some of the time, so you can replay her instead of other creatures. But in general, that's 1 point damage you got through.
So yeah, Toffel, that's another reason that we don't play Karazev as the commander. That's another reason to play something like Chandra, because her late game impact is obviously much higher.
Yeah, or even like if you consider our deck just now as Chandra, maybe you say like, oh, Chandra dies, and why should I play her? Well, she soaks up damage and she deals damage, so maybe your opponent is like 8, and you have no cards, and you can like, okay, I can play Chandra, then your opponent goes to 6, then they have to probably kill her, and then you go like, okay, I recast again, then your opponent is at 4, they have to kill her again, and then you have outs in your deck.
Yeah, and then you draw land number 8 and play the most inefficient shock to face in history. 8 mana, play Chandra. 2 to the dome.
Yeah, I mean, but it's actually 2 to the dome with extra 6/5 life or something.
Yep. Like, I don't disagree with you. Chandra is a late game threat that can like burn out your opponent.
Yeah, so just because it looks grim doesn't mean you have to like feel disheartened. Just make sure that you bring your opponent to a state where you can actually win the game.
Yep, and also top deck burn spells.
Okay, a third piece of advice there. I was going to say we wrap it up there, but no, that's a great third piece of advice there from you as well, Jamin. So always be attacking make sure you're pressuring your opponent as much as you can, even if it does mean you're trading off resources or losing resources there. Play to your outs. Be aware of what's in your deck and how you're going to be able to win games. And ultimately, just top deck like a maniac. That's the most important rule for any red mage to follow if they want to win games of Magic, huh?
So, also, since this is like an aggressive deck, you should mulligan fairly aggressively. Your deck is not as good if you start with 3 mana costs.
Yeah, you really at least want to have a 2-drop.
So, like, some of the hands look nice. Like, if you have 4 lands, a Ferocidon, a Phoenix, and maybe something, a Glory Bringer, for example. Just remember, a Phoenix is not that good because you already have Chandra. You don't need it. Your next hand will have Chandra as well. And even though Ferocidon might be a great play, and on the play, this hand might be keepable, depending on what you're playing against, there are definitely better 6 cards in your starting hands.
Well, hopefully this advice is going to help people get it done once Brawl comes back online. And yes, the Mono Red Menace, I think, will be very important in the opening stages of the Brawl format. Next week, we'll be back again to talk about more decks that we anticipate will be making headlines in Brawl post these after this big set of changes. But we are just about out of time for this week. I think we're going to have time to check in with the mailbag and then wrap up the show. So, Yamin, what have we got going on this week?
You've got mail.
Greeting. No, that doesn't make sense.
Greetings.
Oh, we're changing the the intro. Okay. All right.
Greetings, Planeswalker.
Welcome to Jamin's Mailbag, where I, Jamin, will read out your mail. This week, we got mail from Charlie, who says, Greetings. In episode 3, you mentioned Invasion Block Brawl. I think the idea of brawls from past standards is very cool and underexplored. Which standards would you return to for playing Historic Brawl? And which strategies or legendary creatures or planeswalkers would you try first? Thanks for your hard work on the podcast, Charlie.
First of all, thank you so much, Charlie, for getting in touch. If you'd like to be featured on Yamin's Mailbag, you can send us an email, stacking60s@gmail.com.
So this week's question is kind of like a really big one, right? There's so many standard formats and some of them feature planeswalkers, others don't. So people always cite Return to Ravnica, Innistrad for being like a great standard format, which
easy.
It was,
snap it off. That is 100% where I would be going for Historic Brawl.
but you have to keep in mind that you can only play the cool cards once, right? You can't build your 4x Sphinx Revelation, Snapcaster, Restoration Angel deck again. You only play one Resto and one Snapcaster and stuff. But I would be interested in seeing how that plays out as well. But for the other formats, I have to throw it to Toffel because he played way more standards formats than I did.
And the other thing I just realized about Return to Ravnica and Innistrad is that there are like hardly any 3-color combinations.
Oh yeah, finding legendary creatures is going to be like you have the guild leaders. Those are pretty cool.
They're only two. They're only two
Yeah,
colors.
yeah.
Like because I would just immediately snap off Bant, and I'd be playing Restoration Angel, Thragtusk, Snapcaster Mage, and like Farseek, and Shocklands, and having a great time. But I just realized like I don't think there's a Bant legend
In Return to
There
Ravnica.
might not be.
in Return to Ravnica Innistrad. I don't think there is.
No, Return to Ravnica can't because they don't have 3 more.
Yeah, of course they can't. So I don't think there is an Innistrad either. Oh man,
Yeah, tough life.
we're gonna have to go a bit deeper.
I was just googling. I was just googling the most liked commanders, and then in something it's like the 100 greatest generals, and I was going, okay, let's see. So it says Joshua. I don't know the card Joshua. Let's see the next one. Leonidas. I think that's like a Mirrodin legend. Interesting. And then Philip II, and then I got like, wait a minute, Philip II. That's not a commander.
So there is one 3-color commander out of that standard format. Can you guess it?
From Innistrad and Return to Ravnica.
Yeah.
Does it have more than 3 colors?
No. But it's from that format.
Yeah. It could be the 3-color Planeswalker.
Oh, it's Nicol Bolas
Yep.
from M15.
Nope. M13. Close enough.
M15. No, don't you remember that classic standard format? Return to Ravnica in a straight on M15?
Oh.
Yeah, no, there's no... Yeah, that kind of... a bit of a rain on that parade. So, Toffel, what are some of the ones from ancient history?
So the best standard environments, because the question is actually different. The best standard environment doesn't mean the best brawl environment or decks. Since, like, you need legendaries, so I assume you start with core legendaries and then you can build decks around.
Yeah, probably, right?
Because, like, what does it help you?
Because it's about, like... I just want to play cards that I enjoyed playing historically. Like, I just want to play Sphinx Revelation, Detention Sphere, Azorius Charm, all those ones again. And,
oh, damn! Boys, I realized there's another 3-color commander out of that format.
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
It's 5-color, actually.
Yes.
Any guesses?
Is it the Sliver?
Yes!
Yeah, the Sliver, what is it, Sliver Queen?
Sliver Hive Lord.
Sliver Hive Lord, that's right, yeah.
You can play that one, and then you can play all the sweet cards out of that.
Okay, there you go. Oh, that's what I'll be doing.
So I'd assume, like, something like Invasion. For example, if you go for an Invasion and you take Mask, because that was before, you could probably build, like, a Rebel deck with Lin Civi.
Oh, that'd be very
But it
sweet,
actually might not
With poor
work
old Lin
because-
Civi being banned in block constructed.
Yeah, I think, no, but block doesn't matter. Standard matters.
Yeah, of course, but
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, free Lin City. Get her back on the battlefield.
But she might be even, like, she might have been banned at that standard, but I guess that doesn't matter for testing purposes.
No, dude. Lin Civi is still banned in its invasion block
Yeah, of
construct.
course. Why would they change it?
Of course, this makes perfect
Like,
sense.
if somebody goes like, hey, let's play like a Mikady Mass block constructed tournament, you go like, I'm building Lin City. Is that,
could we have a block GP for that? And then still
wait, no. You know who we asked for the best block constructed decks?
Block advisors.
Yes! I'm sorry, my friends, we're doing a Mikady Mass block constructed tournament. What would you advise I play? Well, not Lin Civi, it's banned.
This is who we should be. I mean, this question that Charlie sent in, I should take it downtown here in DC, take it into Block Advisors and say, listen, I need to know. I need to know what's the best block to play Historic Brawl with.
Sir, we're still a tax advisor firm.
Nothing has changed since you came in here yesterday asking about 3/3s.
See you tomorrow. Well, so what are legendaries you would like to play? Or even, like, I guess you're looking for Planeswalkers, but that could be cool. Like, Venza should be a sweet, like, brawl deck, right?
What about, like, Sarkhan Unbraken, the 3-color, the Teamer Planeswalker?
Yeah.
Sarkhan Unbroken.
Sarkhan
But he
Unbraken.
doesn't feel like I want to build a deck around him because there's nothing, like, going on.
Nah, man, there's heaps of cool stuff. There's heaps of cool stuff in the Teamer colors in that block.
Yeah, but that's just a Teamer energy deck. It doesn't feel like something special.
What? A Teamer energy
Wow.
deck in Cans of Tarkia?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you just play the best cards.
So you just Teamer mid-range?
Yeah, you don't play dragons because he works with dragons.
I love that mid-range has now become energy.
No, but
Yeah, well, I guess it's not entirely inaccurate based on the last 12
that's
months
true.
of standard. Okay, so so you're saying, like, what's the sweet commander that would engender an enormously cool brawl deck?
like Venza the Sojourner?
I don't know if there's enough flicker synergies in the sets.
No, I don't know either, but it would be like if you look at that card, it would be like, wow, that seems cool to build a
Yeah,
deck with.
that seems cool. That's true.
Maybe I don't know how the support is, but maybe the one that attacks and looks for enchantments. It's not Orzan, it's not Mishra, is it?
Oh, Zur.
Zur, yeah,
Zur
exactly.
the Enchanter.
Zor
Yeah.
the Enchanter.
that
that'd be
seems to be
sweet.
like a cool. I think he's even banned in Commander if I remember correctly. So you can play him as a commander in that format. You can probably the best format would be Shards of Alara plus something, right?
Yeah, because you always get to play 3
Yeah,
colors.
yes.
Yeah, that's probably
like
true.
Sharoom must
Plus,
be a cool
probably
deck.
plus Zendikar, right?
Yeah.
You can play Send triplets.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
All right, so I think we can lock that one in then. Yeah, probably just because of the number of possibilities it would open would be Shards of Alara plus something either side of it. Probably Zendikar, I would say.
I think you can even play Nicol Bolas, the Planeswalker, because it's in Conflux.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in Conflux, yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, sweet. All right, lock it in. And thanks very much for the email as well, Charlie, because that was a really good question. If you'd like your email featured on Jamin's mailbag, then please do get in touch. Stacking60s@gmail.com is the best way to find us. Or, of course, there is the contact form on the website. But that's just about that for this week. It's time for us now to close out the show. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Stacking 60s, the Brawl podcast. It's been great to hang out with you this week, as it is, of course, every week. We're going to close out the show with the normal boring housekeeping stuff. You can find all of these things you need to know about the podcast at our website, stacking60s.net. It's there you'll find links to our Twitter pages. You can follow the show on Twitter, at Stacking60s. Previous episodes are linked there, as well as our Patreon. We do have a Patreon, and we do have a number of people supporting us financially there, and we very, very much appreciate it. There are a range of benefits that you can get across if you jump on Patreon, which of course includes entry into the monthly booster giveaway bonanza. Right now there are 15 boosters in the pool, and there could be another 15 if next week if Toffel is going to down that teaspoon or that spoonful of Tabasco sauce. We'll see, but the video will be up there because our YouTube channel is also available for you to click through from stacking60s.net. Jamin tends to stream a fair bit. You can find his link, the link to his Twitch site on our website there as well. And he's also set up a Discord to discuss the Brawl format.
All right, this week, this is more of a 1v1 commander thing, but we had someone complaining about playing against Azusa in 1v1 commander, and it's like this image of someone kneeling before a woman, and that whole woman holding like a whip. And then the woman obviously is Azusa, and then the whip is Emrakul. The foot that like the women put onto the man is life from the loam. Then it says uncounterable Eldrazi trigger, lol XD, haha, funny. It's just the most hilarious thing.
I never want to look at funny images on the internet ever again anymore, Jamin. I just want you to explain to me what's going on when people post pictures like that.
It's like reading books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a picture paints 1,000 words, so I would prefer the 1,000 words from Jamin, I think. Anyway, if you'd like to get across those 1,000 words, you can jump on our Discord as well and get across it there. We are going to close the show this week, of course. It's the same way we do every week with Toffel's Tweet. Toffel's Tweet is another weekly booster giveaway from the three of us here. Every week, Toffel selects a tweet that's been sent out with the hashtag Toffel's Tweet. And if your tweet ends up being read out on the show, you win 5 boosters. If you'd like to win 5 boosters with Toffel's Tweet, all you need to do, jump on Twitter, tweet something with the hashtag Toffel's Tweet. And if it's particularly dumb or funny, these ones tend to be the ones that Toffel graduates towards. Like attracts like, I suppose. And so this week, Toffel, take it away.
Toffel's tweet. Incoming. All right. So, this week's Toffel's tweet comes from Jared JD. Thank you for writing, and thank you for taking 5 boosters. It was pretty funny hearing Riley Knight generally confused when he heard the Carpador joke. Like, in episode 3, I said, Carpador, when... Carpador?
When you meant Magikarp.
Yeah, when it was
because
about
Carpador is
the attack.
Because Carpador is the German name for Magikarp.
Exactly. So the question is, got any other German terms that get lost in translation?
Oh, well, I've got so many.
Yeah, go ahead.
After living there for years, there are so many that are just so dumb. For example, a light globe is a Glühbirne, a glow pear.
Right, it's like it looks like a pear in the clothes. Easy.
Sure. Okay. Well, you're a very literal people. You're a very literal people. So, for example, a sloth, which is obviously they're known for their laziness. They just call it a faultier, a lazy animal.
Lazy animal.
Yeah, lazy animal.
Yeah, or a squid, which is a water-based animal that can squirt out ink, is called a tintenfish, an ink fish.
Yeah. I mean, it's what it does, right?
Sure, but it's not a particularly imaginative or inventive name. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really...
Yeah, but even if you don't know
it doesn't translate well.
Even if you don't know it, you know what you're talking about, right? It's like, so imagine how this evolved. Somebody comes like, hey, have you seen the squid? And everybody goes like, what is a squid? And in Germany it goes like, hey, did you see the tintenfish? And everybody goes, I don't know what it is, but I know it's a tintenfish, so it does
But it's not a fish.
Well, yeah,
Well,
but
of
it's
course
in
it
the,
is.
in the
It lives
ocean.
in the
yeah.
water.
Oh, so everything that lives in the ocean is a fish.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but you know already that it's in the ocean because it's called fish.
Also, vehicle is Fahrzeug, driving stuff.
Oh, don't get me started on Zeug. On
plane.
Zeug. Yeah, is a
plane.
Flugzeug a
Is a
flying thing?
Flugzeug, a flying stuff.
Yeah.
really
Also
good.
a Spielzeug.
Yeah, which is gaming stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Werkzeug.
Yeah, which is working stuff. German is easy. Like, look at this. Like, you can basically go around it's like, haben Sie the eating Zeug? Okay, so Riley, this is like a little preview for the German-speaking episode.
Okay.
I will tell you a word in German. You tell me what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Easy game.
What is a Schnapsidee?
A snap idea, or I don't know, an idea that has something to do with schnapps, like a quick idea, like a brainstorm quick idea.
So what's a Schnaps?
Schnapps is like the alcoholic
Yeah,
drink.
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
So it's correct. It's go for Schnaps an idea, but it's something that really is not working out. It's very bad.
It's a bad idea, basically.
Oh, so it's an idea that you have while you're drunk on schnapps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I'll give you that one.
Okay. Luftschloss.
That's like an air ball in basketball.
Luftschloss.
Yeah, so Luft is... Oh, no, I was thinking Luftschuss. Air shot. So a Luftschloss is an air castle.
Yes, and what is it?
I don't know, where the king of the giants lives?
Knowing what they mean doesn't mean you know what it is.
Okay, an air castle. Like a white elephant, something that is supposed to be really good and amazing, but then you realize it's actually kind of rubbish.
No.
No? Okay.
Jamin, do you know what a Luftschloss is?
Well, it's like the idea you have, but you can't really realize it.
Yeah, it's just you have an idea or dream, and it's unrealistic. You cannot do it. Like it's like a literally castle out of air.
A castle of air.
It doesn't it doesn't give you something.
Yeah, that doesn't really come across that well. I'm not happy with that one. All right, next one.
Okay, we have Fuchs, Teufels, Wild.
Fox, devil, wild?
Yes, that's the literal translation.
I have no idea.
Can you use it in a sentence, right?
Mate, I think I could cobble the words out of a dictionary and stick them on the same page. I don't think that'd give them any.
Okay, so what do you guess
context.
it means? Like what?
A fox, devil, wild.
Yeah, Fox, Devil, Wild.
I have no idea. I can't even guess.
So it just basically means you're very angry, like
very, very angry.
yeah, it's like
Oh, that kind of wild.
yeah, like
Yeah. Like you're not angry.
I have
but
no
you're
idea
like
what the
angry
fuck-
like a
So
fox
angry, I'm
devil.
Fox, devil, angry.
yeah. I don't know what the fox does. Like devil angry, I can assume. Like you have
Yeah,
like
but foxes aren't angry. Foxes are cunning.
yeah, but I have no idea. Okay, one last one.
Okay, last one. Here we go.
Okay, this might be maybe a bit easier. Kopfkino.
Head cinema.
Yeah,
Head cinema.
Oh, it's like your imagination.
What do you mean?
It's like if you're daydreaming, you're in the Kopfkino.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Yes, I crushed it.
Very good. Yeah, it's like the Scrubs. You know those ideas JD's always having.
Yes, yeah, that's the Kopfkino.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
quite
Yeah,
a
that's
literal
Kopfkino.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah,
Right.
German is a beautiful.
Very
language.
good.
All right. Well, I've actually got one more that I want to share with you guys, and I know you guys know what this means, but this one just I couldn't deal with, and still can't deal with this German phrase because it is that